It's Aaron and Christina from Podcast Services Australia. And here is part 2 of our Why Podcast for Your Business. It's Tuesday Tip Day.
Yay! We love Tuesday Tip Day.
One of the reasons that you should podcast for your business is it builds your network and your community.
Absolutely. So a lot of podcasters run interview shows, right? And when you interview someone or when you reach out to them, having a podcast is a really good excuse to get them to say yes. Because you say, hey, I've got this show. It's about this. I'd love to interview you. So by interviewing them, you build rapport with them. You start to build a relationship with them. And then you can start to build your network that way. And I know many podcasters have built their whole networks from interviewing them. And also consider that when you interview someone, let's say I interview you, Aaron, you're going to be excited about being on my podcast. So you're going to share that podcast with all of your networks. So it's expanding the reach of my podcast as well.
Absolutely. And the other thing is it helps establish your authority in the space that you're in. It helps you become a thought leader. It helps you become someone that people share the podcast about the information you've given. Yep. As long as that information is good. And I'm sure it will be.
Of course. You establish yourself as a trustworthy source. If done well, you know, when people hear your voice, we've talked before about how podcasts create a very engaging listening experience. If you can create that and be authentic on the podcast, then people are going to start to trust you, know you, like you. And as a result of that, you build up your authority in the space so that when the next time someone's looking for a speaker or a coach or an expert on that topic, they're going to think of you, and then they can share your podcast with other people and go, check out this awesome person who's a real expert in this space. I think we should work with them or reach out to them.
Or purchase their product or whatever it is that you're trying to put across, you know, just depending on what your business does and what you're looking to achieve.
Yeah. I know when I first started my very first podcast, I had no experience in the industry. I was not a trainer. I used to be an architect and I moved to a completely new industry. So setting up a podcast was my way of building up my authority and expertise in the space and also growing an audience and a community, like we mentioned before, growing a community around that. So I know personally from experience that it absolutely works. So if that's something that you're looking to do, then maybe a podcast is the right idea for you. So thank you so much for listening to this Tuesday tip, and we'll see you next week. Bye.